What's up, you guys? Do you ever wonder, like how you are and how society expects for you to be? I think about, I get all these comments like, you're not black. You want to be white. You want to be this. You want to be that. Like, here's the thing. I'm an American. Okay, I am an black African American woman. Right. I've never been to Africa. My mom's never been to Africa. Her mom's never been to Africa, right? Her mom's never been to Africa. Um, and I think her mom's never been to Africa. So, um, I'm an American. And a lot of people struggle with sort of the black American image, right? Because it's so comprised of just rhetoric instead of straight black excellence, right? Like the Asians are known for being smart, right? White people are known for having an advantage in society. Hispanics are known for their hard work, right? But blacks are known for their struggle, right? Blacks are known for, just not being the idea of excellence. And so I think with the black American image, we're constantly giving it to the mainstream media and different corporations to maintain. So they tell us what our blackness is. They set the standard for what our blackness is. So for the mainstream media, because I was like to my dude who happens to be a white guy, I'm like, how are you gonna deal with all these critical theories? Like, how are you gonna disown your whiteness? And he's like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just go hiking less or something. Because it's kind of ridiculous. Like, how do you disown yourself? There are a lot of black people that go hiking, but it's not considered a thing that black people do. There are a lot of black people that play the guitar. There's a lot of black people that are into rock music, alternative music, and the first thing their people want to do is label them, right? You're an Oreo. You're not black enough. And it gets to the point where I'm like, well, can you please define what black enough is? And is it etiquette? Is it accent? Is it culture? What is being black enough to some of these blacks these days? Is it being addicted to a struggle that, for the most part, doesn't exist to the extent that people say? Is it being addicted to pains and transgressions of the past of individuals who experiences have nothing to do with the experiences that we are capable of creating for ourselves in this country? I mean, it gets to a point where people really need to start being practical about these arguments. It's like, I'm a black woman, and I think that it's okay for me to have a favorite rock band. I'm a black woman, and I think that it's okay for me to expand my mindset and my thinking beyond black authors that promote struggles and transgressions. That's why I'm a huge Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams, and Shelby Steele fan, because these gentlemen, Rick Walter Williams, these gentlemen have been integral in the framing of my mindset as a black American. And I will say that, men, when I talk about alpha females, right? I am an alpha female, and I hope you guys have been enjoying getting to know the alpha female personality vicariously through my videos, responding to beta men. But I'm an alpha female. And when I think about the leadership of a man, when I think about the worthy leadership of a man, I think about a man like Thomas Sowell. I think about a man like Shelby Steele. I think about a man like Walter Williams. Like, if they could have just cloned Walter Williams' character, and just gave them to every black woman, I think we would be the happiest women on earth, because the man was comical. He was an intellectual. And people don't realize that comedy and humor is what drives points home. People can pick up points really clearly through comedy. And I think that's why a lot of people saw the shade on Paul Mooney. Rest in peace, my brother. Because Paul Mooney, he talked about a lot of social political stuff that people really just didn't want to process. They didn't know how to process it. They didn't understand the messaging behind the jokes. And that's where comedy has to be a little obviously more specific. When you get to like Richard Pryor and George Carlin, these people were social political comics. And so that's why people were able to listen to their jokes and not just think that they were joking. Those jokes resonated with people. You know what I mean? And so I think that, comedy and humor is what kind of helps very serious conversations be a little bit better to process. When you talk about race and political relations, sometimes comedy sort of helps drive the point home. And so I definitely love the humor in different social commentators. I like to include a little humor and cynicism in mine, just because I want people to really kind of absorb, my perspective in the most organic way possible. I don't want to be anybody's standard of what a black woman should be, right? I am one of those people. I love my black culture. I love black music. I love my black people. But I love all people beyond black people. I love my brothers and sisters around the world. I am not biased when it comes to, good people. You know what I mean? And people want to talk about white supremacy, right? They want to talk about white supremacists, and they want to label every single white person as a white supremacist. And these are things that intelligent black people who have collaborated with good white people who have not been a threat to them or their success should resist these things. We should not subscribe to this, right? Because this is just a method of the establishment to continuously polarize people. And that's what people need to understand. They really need to understand this. That these methods of rhetoric are not new. They've been sprinkled into the American social contract for quite some time. The black image has constantly changed. And when you look at the black image and the changing of it, a lot of it is fostered by the mainstream. It's not fostered by black people. They elevate the black people that they want to basically tell us how we supposed to think and operate. They elevate individuals that are not intellectuals or bandwagon thinkers that went to college and now they feel like they are some authority to speak about the dysphoria of the black community, but they are not realistic. They're not practical. And so when people come at me and they're like, "Oh, you down with the white supremacists, and you don't want to be black and you hate yourself," it's like, no, I don't hate myself. I don't imagine myself in the same way as popular black individuals would like to imagine themselves, chained by the pains and transgressions of individuals that you've never met. You don't even know if you are a direct descendant of their ancestry lineage, because black people fail to acknowledge a very key fact in the slavery arguments. Some of us were kings and were stolen, but a lot of us, we were sold by the very people that look like us. Because in some of those African regions that were involved in the slave trade, they didn't have a sense of blackness. They had a sense of class system. And that's what a lot of blacks today, your bourgeoisies, every level, it's a class system. Every single group in this country has a class system down to black people. And those class systems are fighting for their perseverance and their legacies, right? You know, you think about legacy wealth and how it is maintained from one generation to the next. Many high power, generations with money, it only lasts about maybe up to three these days. And so black people need to be, practical about that. You know what I mean? We don't like our front faces that are building their legacy wealth off of perpetuating these narratives and arguments about the black community. These individuals, they're not going to have that wealth for a long time. It's not going to stretch generations. And what they're going to do is they're going to recycle the same rhetoric with a new generation of blacks that jump on the train. That's why we got people like Stacey Abrams. That's why the liberal media are trying to hype her up so bad. Because they want black people to constantly have beacons of struggle. They want face fronts of people talking about black struggle, not black progress. And so when I think about the arguments in the black community, a lot of them just don't make sense. And black people need to get themselves together. We really need to get ourselves together before we start setting the standards and judging other people about their blackness. And these are people who are actually achieving black excellence. I can't listen to somebody that hasn't done the same things that I've done to achieve the level of success that I am on, and I'm the path to success that I'm on. It's like I'm not even listening to a lot of these people anymore because you're not doing anything different. What you're doing is you're watching your brothers and sisters do something different and you on a jealousy train. That's what a lot of y'all on, brothers and sisters alike in the black community. We ain't trying to do nothing different. We got sucked into these our mobile devices, and time is passing by. And as opposed to us doing what that one friend said, which is, hey, I'm gonna stay home and study for this finance exam, or this law exam, or this insurance exam. You out there partying, you out there clubbing, you out there chasing dudes and women. And then time go by and you are in the state that you're in. That's your fault. They ain't got nothing to do with racism. Racism does not inhibit black people the way that they want to paint these narratives that it does. The arguments of racism are only designed to keep black people in a marginalized state so that we are fearful of competing and using our acquiring skills to compete in the capital system because they don't want us competing in the capital system. The powers that be, right? They don't want us competing in the capital system. And we have to think about that. A lot of the arguments in the black community, I think they're misplaced. I think they're recycled. I think they're not progressive. And I think they maintain black marginalization. So as we combat, critical theories, we also need to be combating the generational rhetoric that we pass on from one generation to the next. Because we are doing our community and our people a disservice by allowing people to define what our blackness should be, down to our own people. We are black Americans. And then, unless you plan on going to Africa or whatnot, you're a black American. And you need to own your American experience. Because there is a lot of blacks that have owned their American experience. And some of them have gone outside of the box of a standard of anything of who they should be and they're just being excellent. So I would say if you're a black person and you like to play the acoustic guitar, you like to go hiking, you like sushi and all kinds of ethnic foods, and you like to explore, you like doing all the things that are perceived to be white, there's nothing wrong with you. You're a human being. You're not trying to be anything but explore your human experience at every different level. And bravo to you for doing that.